Be sure to check us out on offlimitsshow.com, on iTunes, and on Spreaker.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me tonight on Off Limits. It's, what time is it? It's like 10:11 p.m. Way to go, Donovan. Right on the dot, not. Anyway, here I am doing Gay Mass tonight again. I just did a Gay Mass show a couple nights ago, by the way. I did 2 shows in one night. I did what did I call it? I did Gay Mass, and I also did Donovan Says, a new kind of segment I'm doing where I give advice to people, just general advice, and I'm real preachy because I am anyway, so I figured why not make a show of it. So be sure to check out the Donovan Says show if you're gay, especially in that particular show, and in the future for general advice and wisdom from me. But also, as I said, on the same day I did a different Gay Mass, so be sure to check out that Gay Mass as well. So anyway, tonight we're talking about several things, talking about what happened on the Grammys this week, also talking about Looking, which is the new gay series on HBO, and talking about some other things going on in the gay news world and gay culture and politics and that sort of thing. So if you're gay, Gay Mass is just for you. So be sure to check me out. And also, as it said, you can check me out on offlimitsshow.com. I just recently updated all of the shows on there. So I pretty much have all the shows from this year on offlimitsshow.com, at least all the ones from this year. If you want to see all the shows I've ever done, then go to Spreaker.com. And look up Off Limits Show, and you'll find all of the shows listed there, all 300 or whatever shows it's been. But you can go to offlimitsshow.com and listen to a show. And be sure, if you do listen on the website, that you comment and post a comment at the bottom of the show page. And let me know what you thought, any questions or opinions or feedback you have. I'm happy to listen and to read that on the show. And if you want any advice from me, you can always email me at info at offlimitsshow.com, and I will definitely read and respond to your question on a future episode of Donovan Says. So be sure to do that if you're interested in my advice. Also, coming up next week, probably, I'll be doing I've been getting requests for people to do a tarot card reading show, another one. So I'm going to do that. So if you're interested in getting a tarot card reading, that will be the place for you. My friend John Patton, that I speak to occasionally offline, he's somebody that knows me through Off Limits Show. He requested one. So John, if you're listening to this show, be sure you listen to the show next week, and I'll do your tarot card reading for you on the air, if that's okay. Because I probably won't have time for that. So anyway, tonight's show, we're talking, like I said, about the Grammys, first of all. And so the Grammys were really good last night. I usually don't watch the Grammys or award shows anymore, but I watched it. I recorded it because I was watching other things. I was watching Downton Abbey, and I was watching Real Housewives of Atlanta and Looking and other shows. So I watched it. Most of it I watched recorded for the TiVo. And so I watched what I wanted, and what I didn't want to watch, I skipped through, which is what's great about TiVo. So especially on award shows, which are so long and boring anyway. So the very first opening act, of course, was Beyonce. She was fantastically beautiful and sexy, and her legs were amazing. And she did this very sexy dance to this song. I can't remember the name of the song. I should. Shame on me, but I don't remember. But it was really amazing, and a really amazing act, and sexy and sexual. And of course, there are people, conservatives are so up in arms about that, as well as what happened at the Grammys last night in the middle of the show. Because in the middle of the show, Macklemore basically led a mass wedding, which included straight and gay couples, while he was performing Same Love, that song, about gay love or whatever, which I should play actually, because it's such a good song. I should play it during the show. I played it before, but anyway, he was playing. He was singing that song, performing it, and while he was doing that, Queen Latifah, who had been deputized by LA County, officiated the mass wedding. After which, Madonna came out in garb, like country western / pimp guard, all white, and with a big old cowboy hat on her head and a cane. And she's done this look before, so it wasn't like a new look. It's not something I'd never seen her in before. And she's usually pulled it off quite well. And she actually pulled this look at another award show previously. I can't remember which one or how long ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago. And also, I'd seen her wear this type of thing in some of her concerts. So I had seen her in this type of outfit. However, I was unprepared for when she came out, because when she came out, she came out looking like Granny Gums, okay? She was walking with a cane, which is supposed to look like Pimp Daddy chic, right? Or Pimp Mama chic in her case. And she came out and she looked like she was having a hard time getting out. There's like she was slumped over and like coming out, singing that song and whatever. And it was so like, open your heart to me. It was so Granny Gums to me. It was so bad. It looked so bad. And Michael and I both looked at each other like, oh my God, she looks so bad. And she did. She looked really bad and old and just decrepit. And my point is, I guess she really was showing her age. And she looked fine. Like her face was, of course, all Botoxed up and fillered up and everything else. So she looked good that way in terms of her, no wrinkles or anything. But she just looked old. I don't know what it was about her. She just looked old. And, someone had pointed out to me, well, she is old. She's 55. Yeah, she is 55 years old, which I don't really consider to be old. But she's not 85 years old. She was acting like she was 85 years old. So I don't know. She just had like a really incredibly long night. She was tired or she was high or something. She looked like she couldn't keep her eyes open too. It was just really weird. But it was cool nonetheless to have her sing Open Your Heart at a mass gay wedding, gay and straight and all kinds of people wedding. At the Grammy Awards. That was a really cool idea. And these people really were married while she was singing this song to them. So I thought it was really sweet and touching, despite the fact that I couldn't get over her appearance at first. 33 couples got married, which a lot of people were crying and smiling on the stage, including Madonna, and Queen Latifah was crying, and other people were crying in the audience. I can't remember who I saw crying. Oh, Keith Urban was crying. I saw him crying. So anyway, it was very touching. But today, MediaMatters.org says that Fox News' Todd Starnes said that he, quote, "This was not about marriage. This was about bashing God and the church." He also called the mass marriage sick. American Family Association's director, Brian Fisher, tweeted, "Heads up, Grammy telecast to feature sodomy-based wedding ceremonies." So it's hilarious to me how these right-winged, backwoods Republican nut jobs can actually take something as beautiful as and touching as the moment was at the Grammys last night and turn it into something about sodomy or something about something disgusting or wrong or anti-Bible. Instead of just saying, well, I don't agree with that, or to themselves, keeping it to themselves, they've got to make a big brouhaha about it and make it act like these people were just doing something horrible. But no, typically, as is typical for these type of people, they had to come out against it and say something about it. But, it doesn't matter if they agree with it or not, because it is the law in California that gay men and women can get married and have the exact same rights that heterosexuals have. So whether you like it or not, it doesn't really fucking matter what your fucking Bible says, your piece of stupid shit book that you are brainwashed by says. All of that matters is that the law is on the side of GLBT community. The GLBT community is under the law's protection in this case. So fuck you, Bible thumping Christian bigots. It is fortunately the way it's going to be, so you better get used to it. All right, so that was that. And also the Grammys, there was a couple of funny moments where Taylor Swift thought she had won Album of the Year or something like that, or Song of the Year. I think it was Album of the Year. And she got up and actually was mistaken, and she got up and for briefly and then sat back down. You could see the dejection on her face when she sat down. It was so hilarious. And there was one point in the show where she was like playing at the piano and she was like swinging her hair back, like back and forth, like she was like having an orgasm while she was playing the piano. I think she's trying to be a little more edgy or something, which kind of fails for her. She's so like got this sweet, demeanor or persona. And I just don't think it really works for her to try to kind of go outside of that box, but that's just me. Anyway, that is that. Now, I want to talk about what happened on Looking last night. Looking, if you don't know, is a show that is on HBO. The second episode aired yesterday on Sunday. It comes on Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern. So, and it has Jonathan Groff and two other actors, one of which I know, I can't remember his name, another one I don't know that well. But it's sort of like a Sex and the City slash Queer as Folk type thing. But it's not like as high strung as those shows are. It's very low key and very kind of just realistic. And it has a realistic take on gay people and not something that's really stereotyped. And actually, a lot of gay people don't like it because it's not that. It's not a stereotype at all. It's very just these guys are just gay guys. These guys are just guys who happen to be gay. You know what I mean? And so it's not all about them being gay. It's just about them living their lives and getting over heartbreak and trying to find someone to love and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so the last week, the Jonathan Groff character, this is spoilers in this, by the way, if you don't want to hear them, you haven't seen it, you might want to skip over this part. But Jonathan Groff's character had met this cute Hispanic guy on the bus or the subway or something, and they hit it off, and he started dating him. He went on another date with him in the second episode. And his friends were teasing him and saying, and he's like really uptight. His character's really uptight and kind of sheltered, and he's very waspy, and he's only ever dated white guys. He's never dated anybody other than a white guy. And so he's very, kind of like that. And so his friends were making fun of him because they're like, oh, you're dating a Hispanic guy, and what about his penis? They said, and he said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, he's Hispanic. He's probably uncut, which is so hot." And he's like, "Really? Oh, I don't know what to do about that." He's like, "I'll look it up on the internet." So he goes and looks it up on the internet, studies uncut penises. He gets excited about this guy having an uncut penis, and ultimately he ends up going to bed with a guy. It's sort of forcing him to. I mean, he didn't force him to, but I mean, he's sort of, kept throwing himself at him at the whole date. And the guy seems to be interested in more of a relationship than just a one-night stand. And Jonathan Groff's character, I can't remember his character's name. Oh, excuse me, I'm so sorry. His character actually is acting, he's trying to act like he wants just a one-night stand fuck buddy type thing, but his true nature is the same. He wants to have a relationship. And so because he's tried that before and it never worked out, he's trying this particular date to be more slutty and just kind of go with the flow. And he's kind of pushing himself on this guy. Ultimately, they end up in bed together. He starts to go down on the guy. He pulls his pants down and starts to go down on him. He's like, oh, like that. And the guy's like, what? And he makes a big deal out of it. And he's like, oh, I thought you were uncut or whatever. He kind of offends the guy and ends up, they end up going their separate ways. But anyway, it made me think about the whole cut or uncut question. And as a gay man, you kind of have to actually have a side about this one way or the other, or you can be a equal opportunity circumcision, non-circumcision type individual. But I think everybody has a preference when it comes to that. Women do, gay men do. I mean, men in terms of their own self do. Now, I think that in terms of, before I get into the sexual side of it, I think that being cut or uncut is completely and ultimately it should be up to the person that the penis is on. Now, most parents make that decision for their child, meaning they have them circumcised. Generally, in this country, most people have them circumcised, and I think that is unfair and a mistake because it isn't something that you can reverse. Well, technically, you can reverse it, sort of. I mean, through plastic surgery, you can get your foreskin back, but it's not exactly the same, obviously. And of course it's painful and everything else. But so is circumcision. Now, people for some reason think that because circumcision is happening on a baby's penis, that it doesn't hurt. It hurts like hell, even though they anesthetize it or whatever. And sometimes they don't, by the way, and for many years they didn't. It hurts like hell. So you especially if you're anesthetized after the fact, it would hurt because of the pain afterwards from being, having your foreskin ripped off of your penis and sewn on again. So anyway, well, the reason a lot of parents do that is because they want to say, quote unquote, keep their kid clean, their boy clean or whatever. Like that has anything to do with it. It doesn't. And they want to, or it's a tradition in their family, especially if you're going to go through a bris and you're Jewish or something like that, then obviously it's a tradition. Not that it should be honored, because it's also a tradition in Africa to circumcise women at the age of their sexuality. So why should we honor that tradition or allow that tradition to continue and not the one that's barbaric towards men? It's equally a barbaric. And to me, I think it makes no sense to circumcise a guy in these days. I mean, maybe it made sense like in the old days, like when people took showers maybe once a month, took a bath maybe once a month. And so it was harder to keep clean that way. That would make sense in the, 3,000 years ago, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, BC or whatever, it would make sense to do that for that purpose. And that's probably where it came from in the Jewish tradition and other traditions as well. But in terms of modern day man, we don't ever need to have guys cut. It just isn't, it's not necessary. And so, I know that, I've been with guys who are circumcised. I've been with guys who are uncircumcised, and I prefer uncircumcised penises, but they're really far and few between. Generally the guys I date are generally, whitey make white guys in the past. So most white guys are circumcised generally, not all of them, but I mean, saying the majority seem to be. Whereas when it comes to black men and Hispanic men, typically that's not the case. Typically, culturally, it's not done as much as it is in the Caucasian community. So I prefer uncut penises. I think that's the way God made you. That's the way it was meant to be, blah, blah, blah. And other people prefer them cut because they think they're neater or whatever. So I don't know. Everybody's different. Now, I do know, though, that if you're cut, you're missing out on a great deal of pleasure and a great deal of sensuality that you don't get when you're a circumcised man, because once the foreskin's cut off, the head becomes far more desensitized because it's exposed all the time to underwear and chafing against it and rubbing against it and just the general air in public and everything else. Whereas an uncircumcised penis's head is essentially protected, and it is not as it's much more sensitive and the way it's supposed to feel. And so if you are uncut, you're going to feel a lot more sensitivity and have a much better experience sexually, whether you're straight or heterosexual, than a circumcised man. And so that's just a fact. And so essentially when parents are cutting off the circumcision, doing the circumcision on their boy's penis, then they are essentially butchering him, and they are essentially reducing his future sexual pleasure from the time he's born. And so now, whether you're getting head, whether you're having intercourse with someone, whatever the case is, it feels a whole lot better. Now, I know because I'm uncircumcised. I'm going to put that out there. I don't care who knows. And that's the way I like it. That's the way I want it to be. And it's always been an actual positive and plus in my sexual experiences when I was single, especially because guys liked it, especially gay guys generally liked it. I mean, I don't think I've ever met one gay guy that I was with that didn't like it, that preferred it that way. But there are some guys who do prefer cut penises, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that either way. I'm just saying I think it's a stupid thing to do. If I ever have a boy of my own, a child, whether it's through adoption or through my own genes or whatever, there's no way in hell I would have him circumcised. I think it's wrong and barbaric. Why is it, as I said earlier, why is it okay to do it to men and not to women? Because essentially, if you think about it, a clitoris is essentially just a little tiny penis a woman has. And that's basically what it is. And actually, all of us as men start out as females in the womb. And then once testosterone, a certain level of testosterone is released into the womb by the mom's genetics or whatever, when it's programmed into them, whatever, once that's released and it turns into a boy, the ovaries become testicles, and what would be the clitoris grows out to become a penis. So essentially, that's all it is. And so when women are circumcised, that's what's happening to them. It's just it's inside, that's on their clitoris. And when it's a guy, it's their penis. So a lot of very medical jargon and talk tonight, but I just wanted to go over that because I think it's an important issue that people are looking at wrong. It seems to me people these days are starting to go more towards uncut. And I know in Europe, if you go to Europe, and most European men are uncut, generally speaking, Western European men, like Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, especially, and especially the UK and Germany. Those areas are almost always, I'd say 90% of them are uncircumcised. And so I think America is, as usual, behind the curve, and we're going towards that direction again, finally. So that's what I wanted to say about that, and I prefer uncut. Thank you very much. Okay, next, I wanted to talk about some of the news going on in the gay world. There was a media campaign, a social media campaign by Coca-Cola, which invites people to quote unquote share a Coke with a friend. And what you do is you write this text on a virtual can of Coke. You can write whatever you want, right? And the website allows people to write the word straight, but it does not allow the word gay. And instead, when you try to write the word gay, users get the error message, oops, let's pretend you just didn't type that, or you didn't just type that. Coca-Cola has basically offended gay rights groups lately because of its refusal to denounce Russia's anti-gay laws. And by defending the arrest of gay rights protester in Russia and removing a gay marriage scene from an Iris TV commercial, according to Talroad.com, this is what they said. So I don't know. I don't drink Coca-Cola anyway. I drink some of their products occasionally. Like if I'm out and about and I'm like at a restaurant and they really only have soda, then I'll have maybe a Sprite, maybe a Coke, very rarely. But usually if they have like water or like sparkling water or something, I'll drink that instead. Rarely do I drink Coke products anyway. But I think that if you are someone who likes to boycott, then I think Coca-Cola is a good place to start. They are obviously not on the right side of or the right side of our civil rights anymore. So we shall see what happens with that. And speaking of Russia, the mayor of Sochi in Russia, which is where they're having the Russian Olympics, the city they're having it, says, quote, "It's not accepted here in the Caucasus where we live. We do not have them in our city," referring to gays. He said homosexuals will be welcome at Sochi as long as they, quote, "respect Russian law" and, quote, "don't impose their habits on others." When he was asked whether gays would be expected to hide their sexuality, he said, "No, we just say that it is your business, it's your life." Anyway, so I think it's really ridiculous that this climate of hatred, this level of climate of hatred, is being allowed to fester and to grow in Russia these days. I think it's really sad and embarrassing, actually. But it is what it is. I think that people, unfortunately, aren't going to change there as long as their fucking prime minister or president, whatever they call him there is leading the fight against gay people. Now, Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is a very huge organization, they're in this country, healthcare organization, insurance organization. They just recently, the one in North Carolina recently canceled the family insurance policies of a gay and lesbian couple, or a few gay and lesbian couples in the state, saying that the policies are meant only for married couples. Now, those policies were sold to 20 same-sex couples through the federal insurance marketplace. The language in those policies, including the terms spouse and opposite sex, are geared towards opposite-sex married couples, said the state's insurance department. She said that I was so taken aback by it, I was speechless. This guy who happened to him, he says, "I was so taken aback by it, I was speechless. It was wrong, and it shouldn't have happened that way. For 24 years, we've been on the same insurance with a few gaps." Gay rights advocates point out that Blue Cross Blue Shield offers domestic partner benefits to employees. The insurance company is offering the gay couples individual plans for now. In 2015, they say that they will offer family plans for gay couples. So I guess if they're gonna change them eventually, why not do it now? What the fucking difference does it make? People are stupid. Why not just do it already? If you're gonna really do it in a year, do it now, bitches, right? Anyway, then we have Oklahoma Representative Mike Turner. He says to abolish same-sex marriage by abolishing marriage altogether. He's proposing that that in order to get rid of same-sex marriage, they should get rid of marriage completely. This is an Oklahoman, by the way. If you've ever noticed how many nut bags come out of Oklahoma, there's something in the water there. Now, I'll tell you that I've known this for a very long time because even when I was I wasn't a kid, I was a teenager. When I was in my early teens, in late teens, early 20s, I dated literally 5 guys from Oklahoma within the course of 2 years. Okay. And they were all nice looking men and we got along and everything, but they were all fucking weird. Okay. So there's something in the water in Oklahoma. I don't know what it is. I'm not saying they're all crazy like that, but there sure seems to be a preponderance of nutbags, what gay or straight. But anyway, this guy's from Oklahoma and he's saying this, of course. And Oklahoma should just be wiped off the map as far as I'm concerned. Just go away. Who wants you here anyway? You're just like a nothing state. Just go away. You're that state that's above Texas, right above us. Please give me a break. The last thing was that there are Christian businesses who are saying they should be able to discriminate against gays, focus on the family, which is the very anti-gay organization, is saying that we should do that. Oh, I've got people here. Sorry, I didn't see that. Hi, HTLA Radio 1 New York. I'm sorry, I didn't see you there. Hi, Angela Truth. How are you? How's it going? Let me read what you said real quick. Hey, had a dream about you. Weird. A lot of white furniture and a lime green floor rug like a shag. Okay, well, I don't have any white. Actually, I do have white furniture, but I do not have a lime green floor rug, and I don't have a shag rug. Although I used to have a shag rug, but it was white. I got rid of it. I didn't have a carpet that color, but I had a white rug. Angela, she says Coke is lethal. I agree with that. Crystal Light lemonade. No, Crystal Light is lethal too. Okay. It has aspartame in it. Aspartame, read up on aspartame. Aspartame has been linked to fibromyalgia, to multiple sclerosis, to cancer, to many things. Do not drink anything with aspartame. I used to be a Crystal Light nut. Okay. I used to drink just literally for 5 years of my life. All I drank was Crystal Light at home, and I drink it by the gallon. Okay. I would make probably 2 or 3 of those things a day and drink all of them. And that's all I would drink all day. And I swear that it did cause me to have some issues because I really did feel like I had some fibromyalgia issues, whatever, like these little tender spots on my body, and started to feel like just kind of like a dizziness and also sort of, numbness, which I still have. So through my body, like my legs, my feet, my hands, whatever. And when I stopped it, it pretty much subsided for the most part. So I know there's some truth to that. And so definitely stay away from aspartame in anything, especially Crystal Light. Angela says she's embarrassed to be in Oklahoma. She said there's a reason why you're above us. Haha. It's cold there. You can add liquor to Crystal Light lemonade. Love it. The gut it attacks. Miss you, icon. Well, yeah, it's just a bad thing to drink, and I really think I think it should be. And in other countries, it's actually banned. And aspartame is banned in many countries, and there's many things banned in other countries that are not banned here, because here it's all about bureaucracy, it's all about money, it's all about lobbyists, it's all about the shit that it shouldn't be about, not about the health of people and the things that matter. No, it's about fucking bullshit stuff that we shouldn't fucking give a shit about. It should be about the people and the health of the people, not about money and the bottom line. But that's not what a corporation's for. Corporations are what? They're for making money. Anyway. So I think that's all I had to say. Let's see. Coke looking. I talked about Cut, Uncut Men. I talked about the Grammys. I talked about, there's a sequel, by the way. If any of you out there, especially if you're gay, you probably like the movie Pitch Perfect. Now it's been announced there's going to be a sequel to Pitch Perfect. So if you're into that movie, definitely check it out. It's coming out soon. Next year, they said, supposedly. So we shall see what happens with that. I will be back tomorrow night or the next night or sometime this week, probably with Acoustic Mass. I might do Acoustic Mass later tonight. I'm not sure what album we're going to feature tonight, but if you like music, listen to that. Also, once again, be sure to check me out on offlimitshow.com, Twitter, Facebook. Follow me on those. If you do have a question for me, you can also always send it to info at offlimitshow.com, or you can post it on Facebook or Twitter to me as well. And don't forget, next week we're going to have the We're going to have the show, the tarot card reading show. I can't think tonight, sorry. And also, as I mentioned on the last Gay Mass show a couple nights ago, Coco Peru has said she was sick and she couldn't do the show when I wanted her to that day when we had agreed to do it. And so she rescheduled to do it for March 2nd. She said she's going to be out of town in Mexico and performing around California or whatever. And so because of that, it's been postponed until then. So come back on March 2nd, listen to Gay Mass on that night and at 10 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 p.m. PM Eastern, and be sure to listen to that show. It should be a good interview. And so I'll be back next time. Until then, have a good night, everybody, and thanks for listening.